as all of y'all know, we've talked a lot about and I'm glad we finally have an Android Air or thin device to talk about. We talked a lot about this stupid iPhone 17 Air. Yes, it's cool, but we keep on talking about it and we're just waiting for it. But it appears Samsung is ready to battle this will be the battle of the thin phones, right? So Samsung's going to put out an S25 Air competitor. So it's going to be a much thinner profile, much thinner phone than the other S25 series devices. It's going to suck because it's not coming out in January with the other S25 lineup. It's going to come out, well, we don't know when, but they said the second quarter of 2025. So that means, so it's either going to come out May, June, July, or August. Is that right? January, February, March, April, May, June, or July. Hoping it's May, hoping it's sooner, because a lot of people, and they're only making limited quantities because they don't want to mass produce this thing and then it doesn't sell well, right? I want one. I want to get one. But I know a lot of people are just going to get the S25 Plus or S25 Ultra. And then, look, these phones are expensive. It's hard to just get one, right? But we now know just how thin it's going to be. Now, with the iPhone 17 Air, we've heard it will be roughly 5.4, just under 6 millimeters thick. That's thin, very thin. That's about half the thickness of the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This is what, this is almost 9 millimeters thick. It's almost 9 millimeters thick, Pro Max. So it'll be a little bit thicker than half, but Jesus Christ, that's you take where the Type-C plug is, cut the phone in half sideways, and that's how thick the 17 Air is going to be. Guess what? Now we know how thin the S25 Slim. Now, there's no concrete information on the name of this S25 Slim. You're going to hear people call it the S25 Thin, S25 Slim. You're probably going to even hear some people say S25 Air, right? Just because they're going to be used to saying the 17 Air. But Samsung is going to release this before the iPhone 17 Air. So let me go ahead and pull up this article. So check this out. Whoa, what the hell? There we go. So I don't believe I wrote this up on my website. So we're checking out Android Authority. So this is how thin the S25 Slim is going to be. So there's a leaker that has claimed that the S25 Slim is going to be under 7 millimeters of thickness. Well, geez, I would hope so, because the phones right now aren't much over 7 millimeters of thickness. So I'm like, well, I saw this and I was like, well, I hope so. I mean, it really wouldn't be a quote unquote thin device if it was 7 millimeters or over. Because right now, the S20, you know what? Let's see, the S24 Plus, because it's going to be the same size, well, at least not thickness, but the screen size is going to be the same as the S24 Plus, or I guess the S25 Plus, right? So let me pull up GSM Arena S24 Plus and see just how thick this phone is. Let's see, it is 7.7 millimeters. So the S24 Plus, S25 Plus, roughly 7.7 millimeters, right? This one right here. I would hope it's less than 7 millimeters, because it, you have one come in at 7, one come in at 6.9, the other one at 7.7. There's really not that much of a difference, right? But it's going to be a little bit under that. So let's check this out. Ice Universe. Now, it's not just some leaker. Ice Universe, probably the most famous, most accurate leaker, at least when it comes to Samsung. He has a number of insiders that give him information. So if anybody puts out information, I would trust him, right? So what he's saying, the S25 Slim thickness maybe 6 point something millimeters. 6 point something. So the thinnest S24 model is the standard variant, the small one, which is 7.6 millimeters, and we now know the S24 Plus is 7.7 millimeters. So I hope it's closer to the 6 millimeters than it is the 7 millimeters, or 6 millimeters than it is to 6.9. I'm not sure if that is going to be enough to get me to buy the phone. I think it needs to be thinner. And this under here is not right. I've heard it's it wasn't, was it 5.4? It'll be, the 17 Air is going to be noticeably thinner. It's going to feel thinner in the hand. Just because there's a bigger difference between the standard models and this thin model. There's not really going to be that much of a difference between the S25 Plus or S25 and the S25 Slim, right? Could and will you be able to tell the difference holding it in your hand? Probably, maybe. It's going to be lighter. So yeah, you might be able to tell the difference, especially if you had the regular one in one hand and the Slim in the other hand. You'd probably tell the difference. But if you were to just hold the S25 Slim in your hand and say now, and you had someone's eyes closed, and you said, are you holding the S25 Plus or are you holding the S25 Slim? I bet you not many people, and it'd probably just be on a pure guess, a pure whim, that they would select the right phone. I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference. And now that I see this, I'm not sure I want it so much. I mean, because y'all are already going to have an S25, S25 Plus, S25 Ultra. This is coming out a few months after the S25 series. I don't think that's enough to get people to switch over or to buy, honestly. I think it needs to be even thinner than that. Now, it may not be physically possible. I'm sure they've crunched numbers and quite literally crunched the phone to see how thin they can get in. And look, there's just too many. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can take out. And you know the difference. Here's the difference. I just thought of it. Apple has their new motherboard, right? The motherboard, the new Apple Watch. You know how they got it so thin? The Apple Watch, what is it? The Apple Watch 10 series? It's the 10 or the Ultra? I think it's the 10. Whatever the latest current Apple Watch is. They patented a new motherboard where, and I know I've explained this before, but traditional motherboards are like this phone, right? And then you slap, and then you solder memory on there. You solder everything on top of it. You build on top of the motherboard, on top of that plane, right? Which adds to the thickness. The more you add, the more you add. Well, Apple designed and started manufacturing and patented a new motherboard that actually incorporates everything you would solder on top of the motherboard. They actually put in one motherboard, in one plane. So they can slim down the design, and it just hit me. That's going to be the difference. So Apple patented this new motherboard where they can literally put everything inside the motherboard. Samsung's still working on the old school way of building a device or electronics where they have the motherboard and then they have to put everything on top or solder everything on top of it, and which is why they are struggling to get it down thinner. That's why you see a significant difference in the thickness between the two devices. So I think Apple is going to win this battle of the thin phones, but it'll be interesting to see just how they look when they get released. I believe you will be able to tell. Again, if you had your blindfolded, I don't think you would be able to tell holding these two Samsung devices, a slim and a regular. I do believe you would be able to tell if you're blindfolded and you were holding the iPhone 17 Air in the iPhone 17 Pro Max, right? Because they're both going to be big phones. I think you're going to tell there's going to be a noticeable difference. So good try, Samsung. I just don't think that's slim enough for people to get to buy it, or at least me. I think, and I never thought I would say this until now, I think I'm going to pass on this one. Now, until further judgment, until we get a little bit closer to launch, I'll probably make that decision. But it's not worth it. Whatever. I'd rather just get the S25 Ultra, right? So, it's all good, but make sure you stay tuned. Again, these numbers aren't set in stone, but they're rough estimates, and I think they're pretty accurate. But shoot, Samsung, the S25 series is going to be launched literally, what, in 3 weeks, 4 weeks?